Hi everybody. In this video, we're going to read the next chapter of Meet the Gecko. Chapter 4, Meeting the Gecko. It was dark in the gecko's room, and cold. The henna lady said, "Chase, this is Mr. Bird, the reporter from the Cedar Valley Gazette. And this is his son, Nolan. Nolan's the boy who's having a birthday today, remember?" "Cool," the gecko said, but he didn't even look up. He was sitting cross-legged on his bed, his thumbs attacking the buttons of a PlayStation controller. I checked him out for a minute. He just looked like he does on TV. Then I checked out the television that was sitting on a big wooden cabinet in front of him. "Tekken 3?" I asked. "I love that game. It may be old, but it's still my favorite." "You have it at home?" He still didn't take his eyes off the TV. He was too busy wailing on his opponent with flying kicks. "Nah, my parents won't get me a PlayStation." He took a split second to look at me. "That's cold." I didn't want to embarrass my dad, so I said, "It's alright." I watched him battle and said, "Yoshimitsu is my favorite character too. Gunjack's better on blocking, and the way Cho'ogre breathes fire is way cool. But Yoshimitsu's got the death copter trick, and he can do backflips. I love backflips." "Backflips?" he asked. "How do you make him do backflips?" I almost said, "You don't know how to do backflips?" but I caught myself in the nick of time. Instead, I said, "He tapped the back button 3 times really fast. He tried it, but it didn't work." "How?" he asked, and handed over the controller. "Like this, see?" I said, and tapped the button until Yoshimitsu started doing backflips. "Wow." I handed the controller back and the gecko sent Yoshimitsu backflipping like crazy. "Now try the death copter trick," I told him, "before Gunjack gets you." "Hoo hoo hoo," he laughed, making Yoshimitsu's sword spin like a helicopter blade. He flew Yoshimitsu out of danger and wailed on Gunjack on his way down. "I won," he cried. That, that was way cool." Hannah Blockwell cleared her throat and said, "Chase, you're scheduled to give Mr. Bird an interview, and we have to get it done before they call for you." "Aw, Hannah," he said. Then he jumped up and got a second controller from behind the TV. "Let me play the kid one game, okay?" He grinned at me and said, "It is his birthday, right?" Hannah looked at him, then me, then Dad. Dad smiled and said, "I don't mind, and it would absolutely make Nolan's day." She sighed and said, "One game, Chase. One. You're on a pretty tight schedule today." In all my wildest dreams, I never could have pictured it. Me sitting next to the gecko, battling him in Tekken 3, beating him in Tekken 3. This was the best birthday ever. Before the second battle, I showed him some tricks. He still didn't beat me. So in the third game, I held back. I didn't want him to be mad at me. After the third game, Hannah turned off the TV and said, "Come on, boys. Time to get to work." "You're good," the gecko said to me. "And you don't even have a PlayStation?" I shrugged. Dad and Mom take me to Mother Lode's Pizza sometimes. They've got a Tekken 3 game there. Still, he faced Dad and said, "Cool kid you've got here." "Cool?" The gecko thought I was cool? "Wow." "Thanks," my dad said, and boy was he smiling. "So fire away," the gecko said. "What do you want to know?" Hannah glanced at her watch and said softly, "I have to check on a few things. I'll be back in 20 minutes, Chase." When she was gone, Dad opened his notebook and said, "So, what's your impression of Cedar Valley so far?" The gecko shrugged. "Pretty cool, I guess. Small." Dad nodded. "Cool trees, cool town square." He grinned at me. "Cool kids." He moved over to a couch and kind of sprawled out. "Truth is, I've mostly just been learning my lines. I hate going out." "Why's that?" Dad asked. "So every time I go out, some jerk sticks a camera in my face. Next thing you know, I'm on the pages of the Stargazer or Idle Watch with some insane story about how I'm a criminal, or an idiot, or an alien or something." "Really?" I asked. "Yeah, really. Like one time they caught me stretching and yawning at a restaurant, and the next thing I know, they've got me in the paper with the headline, Teen Heartthrob Goes Berserk. The story said I thrashed around, destroying things in the restaurant. No way. He laughed. Oh way. One time it was Gecko tortures turtles. I was just, animating this little kid's turtle form, but they made it look like I was tearing the turtle's arms off. The next day, all these animal rights activists showed up at our location with picket signs. I told them I hadn't tortured any turtles, but they just got more pictures of me and made up more lies. One time, they even had my head attached to a big sumo body with some total lie story about how I was killing myself with candy bars. Wow, I said. I can't believe they get away with that. Crazy, he said. There's one guy in particular that's like obsessed with following me around. A reporter? Dad asked. Yeah, some jerk named Joel Bull. Joel Bull, Dad said. That can't possibly be his real name. It is, believe it or not. But everyone calls him Joel the Mole, or just the Mole, because the creep looks like one. A mole? I asked. Yeah, he'll do anything for a story. He lies and badgers and just gets in your face. He does outrageous stuff too, like planting dog poop outside your hotel room so he can get a picture of you stepping in it and grossing out. Or he'll climb up to your window so he can take pictures of you in your boxers. You name it, he's willing to do it. That's unbelievable, my dad said. That's nothing. He does illegal stuff too, criminal stuff, like starting fires or breaking and entering, or he shook his head. Like I said, he's done it all. Sue him, I cried. The gecko laughed. Believe me, I've tried, and lots of people have sued him, but he's still out there making up lies. No one can actually ever pin anything on him. He turned to my dad and said, Anyway, we should get back to the interview, or Hannah will be all over my case. So Dad ran down a bunch of questions. Boring questions. Like about where he grew up, how he liked being a celebrity, what he did in his free time, did he have a tutor for school, did he see himself as a role model, what advice would he give to kids. He didn't ask a thing about being a superhero, or life with a talking gecko, or what he would do if the real Damien Black had ever had him in his clutches. Boy, did my dad have a lot to learn about interviewing superheroes. Then before we knew it, Hannah was back, telling Chase he had to get to the makeup trailer. May I take a picture of Chase and Nolan? My dad asked. And Nolan brought a poster for an autograph. I hope you don't mind. Not a bit, Chase said, and while I hurried to get my digital camera and poster out of my backpack, he laughed and added, Just don't sell it to Joel the Mole. No way, I said. He signed my poster, then put his hand on my shoulder while Dad took aim with my camera and said, Say cheese. Nah, Chase said. Say buy a PlayStation. We both laughed, and Dad clicked. And after we said a million thank yous, Dad and I left. The second we stepped outside the door, a round-bellied man with greasy black hair jumped out from behind a big plant and Ringa, 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 he shot me with a gigantic camera. Before we knew what had hit us, the guy said, Blast! In a high, whiny voice, then wrinkled his pointy nose and scurried away through the stairwell door.